Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to, first and foremost, Rod. Thank you for joining. Todd Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, JMels24, Unamento, M, Iron26, Endless, Flat Earth Sage, Goldie McKiernan, Retro Bill, More Books, Cannabear, Fibre Oats, Bogey, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Mel B. Styles, Troy Shuker, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Dale West Watson, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
So I'm not totally poo-pooing this stuff, but it's like, you know, we gotta learn to like yield because we're fallible. As men, we're so fallible. Noticed. Anyways, kind of got what I was saying there, Jado.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. And the problem the problem with the heliocentric model is it has played on a Christian ideology about belief versus proof. Like you said there about Thomas, is Thomas went searching for proof, and Jesus asked him to reach out and prove that he was real. And the heliocentric model has been preying on Christian ideology ever since by saying that you don't have to doubt, just believe. You don't have to go searching for proof because Jesus has already done that. Thomas has already done that. All you need to do is just believe.
Okay.
what model? Have they presented a model in the past 24 hours? We've been waiting for it for a long time, no?
No one's picking up what you're putting down, Neil. Sorry, that's just the way it goes sometimes.
They don't have a working model. Then we used to say that models are pseudoscience anyway.
Contextually, when somebody's claiming them as science, yes.
Why do I need a model? I got a flat map.
Yeah. How'd you get that flat map anyway? Well, how'd you put it? Let's make it better. How'd you get all your spheres anyway? If you claim you have a model, right?
Google Maps navigates flat.
Everything navigates flat.
Yeah, you can't navigate with Google Maps or like Google Earth. I was thinking. Can't navigate Google Earth.
Are you just
No matter
muttering,
what, they all came.
Righteous, or are
Sorry.
you just quieter than normal? What's going on? Have you turned something down? You're normally pretty consistent. You're like my benchmark, so when you change, that's bad.
Nah, his audio's good.
I'm just maybe talking more quiet.
Can you just give
My sister says, "Go on."
keep going? Keep talking. I just need to level you up.
All right. Well, my sister usually says sometimes I'll change from talking quiet to like talking really booming and really loud. And
Can
so,
you do that?
that?
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Oh, there you go.
Let's hear you talking
What,
nice and
booming
loud
loud?
so we can get a peek.
No. It's still early. Come on. Still sipping on my tea, relaxing.
Nathan, you're the best at that anyway.
Okay, we're not going to
I
get to
like,
that limit.
I like
That'll do.
listening to people now in public just to see like the decibel level, and I do notice. I don't know, we're Mexicans, but American Mexicans, we do talk louder than UK people.
You what? Did you say you're Mexican?
Of course.
Get out!
Get out! I knew it.
What are you
Get
doing?
out of it.
Sure, I have too many of them.
Didn't you see the sign?
No Mexican or dogs allowed.
Correct. Get out.
Oh, wait a second. That was Italians got that when we came over in the 1900s.
Wait a second. You Italian?
Get out!
Get out!
Well, I wanted to throw everybody out of chat yesterday by not knowing that the Beatles are spelled B-E-A-T. And some people never heard of the Beatles.
Who?
So it's not the beetle as in the bug spelling?
Beat.
Nathan
Beatles.
said who?
Look, I missed the comment. I was obviously not paying attention. Beatles, right? As in the beat?
But beetles is spelled different than the
Yes.
bug beetle, right?
No kidding. That was the whole play on it. There was a magazine called Mercy Beat back then. And it was stood for beat, the Beatles.
Anyway, fascinating though this is.
Did you listen to Dear Prudence like I instructed you to? Oh no, that wasn't you. That was Heroes.
D Rose. He's not here, it looks like.
Yeah. I told him to listen to Dear Prudence. Now that's how you make a song. Anyway, what are we
music's
doing today,
dead.
Nathan?
What are
No,
we
no,
doing?
that's it.
We're supposed to cover the last bit of Invicta, but I don't know if I want to do that. Hopefully someone will come up with something else.
Depends how high your standards are.
What are you saying? If I had higher standards, I'd want to cover it completely.
No, the quality of video, I'm saying.
I'd normally moan about most things, so that kind of doesn't matter. With most videos, the pattern is I'll moan about it, say why I don't like it. Unless it's the creme de la creme of heliocentric priests. Then we'll do it, cover it, and I'll go, actually, that was alright, kudos, that was a good pick. That's usually how it goes down, right? I can't even find
Depends on the
Invicta.
mood.
I'm looking for it and I can't see it. Fake
You guys
space.
ever look at the Joe Scott guy?
Maybe. You can get it to me in Skype, then looks like it if I can't find the Invicta video we were covering yesterday in this chat, which is about 1 million. Let's give it more precisely. It's 76 messages long.
I never heard of this Scott guy, so he can't be a heliocentric top priest.
1.56 million subscribers.
Never heard of him.
Here we go. I'll get it ready just in case 10th does join. And inevitably he'll go, no, we must cover the end of Invicta for completeness.
That's true.
That Invicta guy and you taking him down was a flashback to 2017. It was pathetic.
More like 2015.
Well, we got more of that.
Well, it's all queued up ready, so should we have to cover it, then we will.
Speaking of 10th Man, I watched a movie last night and I heard his name referenced. If 9 agree, he's got to be the 10th man to disagree. It was in World War Z with Brad Pitt. I was like, oh, shoot.
I thought that was a basketball reference. Or football.
I don't know. I seen it in World War Z last night.
He has
The guy
explained it
said he
before,
was
you
the
know.
10th man.
Yeah, he has explained what the 10th man is several times, actually.
Yeah, but I never heard it like I heard it in a movie last night.
Oh, well,
So
then
it
it's
was
now
like,
been validated.
Yes.
If
It's
you've
the
seen
way
it in
he
a
said-
movie.
and- no,
It's
it's the way he
empirical.
explained it. Checks out to his explanation of it.
Oh, okay. Well, if Brad Pitt's validating 10th man, then that's got my stamp too.
Hey, did you guys hear about that disease he has?
No.
What? Handsome?
No, this Brad Pitt guy. He can't remember your face. So he'll go off voice cues. He has a disease where they can't remember faces. They go by your voice. Like he really looks at people like you've never seen them before, but he'll remember your voice to establish in his mind who you are. Like they can't remember faces for some reason.
I don't believe that crap.
I think some people got it or some shit like that. They proved. I think I saw some videos on YouTube of people that could discern people's faces.
Yeah, blind people.
I don't think that's what it means.
Come on, Nathan. Listen to how silly that sounds.
I met Stevie Wonder. He was at a hi-fi
What
show.
he looked like.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. I'm not joking about this part of the story. Yeah, he was at a hi-fi show. So, CES. And he was just looking at hi-fi, wandering around with his security guards and his dog.
Has hi-fi
How was he
taken a
looking
back
at
seat
hi-fi?
nowadays?
Well, when I saw him, I almost stopped him, but his security guards got him away. But he was swinging the dog around, like on the lead, by its neck. And I was like, through the security guards trying to stop me getting to him, I was like, what are you doing, Stevie? And he says, I'm just having a look around.
Oh,
But I did
shoot.
actually meet him. That bit is true. He was at a hi-fi show, quote unquote, looking around.
You think he knew you were a flat earther?
I wasn't a flat earther at the time. I was a hi-fi rep.
That kind of happened to me with when he was Puff Daddy. I had to do a job at Bad Boy Entertainment in Midtown Manhattan. So I was instructed to go there, get the carpet. The guy will pay me for whatever time I spend there, but I just have to do this job. It was a small office, right? He wasn't there. It was the time when he was on trial for that gun charge or something, that shooting. Anyway, to make a long story short, I waited there all day. The carpet never came. And the guy kept telling me, please just wait. I got to get this job done. Finally, the carpet comes like 5 o'clock at night. I have it in the room. I'm opening up. And he has a lot of people working in that office. They were all playing around, joking around. Then I all seen them snap to attention and start moving around with a purpose. I kind of figured he was there. And he was. So I opened the door, and as I walked towards him, this freaking stocky Jamaican bodyguard stepped right in front of me. I was like, hey, I'm just doing a job here. But it was strange. And the funny thing was, he never paid for the job. I got paid, but he never paid for the job. And that's how it is when you're an entertainer. You don't pay for nothing.
I'm glad you cut that story short, Neil.
I don't know. I dealt with plenty of famous people when I was a rep, and I didn't have any trouble chasing money any more than any other person, even with royalty in various countries. You know, just it made no difference in terms of their wealth level, in terms of how likely they were to be a pain in the ass when it came to paying. You know, some people need chasing, some people don't. It didn't really make much difference.
He did not pay. The guy told me years later.
But that's
Hey,
nothing to
remember
do
that
with
job
him
you
being a
did? I was
celebrity.
like, yeah, how
What
can
I'm
I
getting
forget?
at, Neil, people are tight asses and don't pay bills. That's got sod all to do with being a celebrity. Yeah,
I don't know.
well,
Michael Jackson never paid for anything.
In my experience, it's got nothing to do with them being a celebrity and everything to do with them being a tight ass.
I guess you're right. You can't judge the whole industry for one.
Yeah, you can.
Let's stereotype the entire industry. Why not? Yeah, they all expect everything
Because it
for
works.
nothing. Neil's right.
Because it works. Why do you think
Well, they
police
said-
officers do it?
Hold on. They said Michael Jackson used to go around purchasing things, and the people that were with him would wave to the people saying no, don't sell it. He don't got the money for it.
Good morning, guys.
Chocolate, where were you? I was in Georgia yesterday. I did not see you.
Because he's in Georgia, therefore you're going to see him.
I was on top of one of the buildings. I was looking at the torch and the Olympic sign they still got there. I was like, Chocolate, where are you?
Georgia's enormous.
I joke, Nathan.
Who sings that Georgia song? Is that Stevie Wonder?
Ray Charles. Georgia?
Same thing.
That's not nice.
Well, the reason I was in Georgia was also for a hi-fi show, but it certainly wasn't as glamorous as the Vegas show, and Stevie Wonder was not there. There was lots of homeless people.
The same thing again.
Had to climb up the roof to do it, work on air conditioning. And is it me? Because the age I'm at, I was very nervous climbing up the ladder. You know, the ladders that are right against the wall that you got to climb up? I was like climbing up very tentatively. When I was younger, I would have just flew right up that ladder.
That's just experience. Ladders are dangerous. Proceed with caution when you're a bit older. Same with stairs. I watch my kids run up and down the stairs and I have to tell them off, and I'm like, these are lethal. They don't care.
The older you get, the more dense you get. That's all. You get the way.
You ain't kidding, because I used to hang jump things. You know, when you're a kid, you hang jump, see how far you can hang jump. I jumped off a 2-foot thing the other day and I landed so hard.
Yep.
We used to climb like short buildings just to see if we could jump off the top. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's because you're made of rubber when you're below 20. Then suddenly you get to about 25. And something happens that you go, oh, I'm actually fragile. Oh dear. How did that happen? I used to be made of rubber.
I haven't walked since November. I broke my ankle.
Oh no. That sounds painful.
6 screws, 2 cables later of platinum.
Oh.
I'm barely starting to walk.
How did you break it? How did you break it like that?
Crocs and wet rain.
Bummer.
That's dangerous, man.
They don't tell you how long they'll take to heal. They say it's a short period of time. Or at least they did when I broke my ribs. Oh yeah, 6 months. Yeah, it should all be done. Year and a half later, I'm still in pain. Still feel the crack.
When you cough, right, Nathan?
Just generally.
Did you fall
generally.
on something, or did you lean on something?
Pardon?
Yeah, he fell in his face.
How'd you injure yourself?
Me? I have no idea. I woke up after being unconscious on the floor with
You
paramedics
fell on
around,
your face.
with a great big gash up my face. Yeah, I know why that happened. There's like door dividers between, holding carpet together. I must have fell on that, sliced up my face. Anyway, I'm sure having a broken ankle.
So you were drunk?
No, I wasn't drunk at all. Probably just getting up in the night to go for a wee. That's probably the
Nathan,
most
don't
likely
drink.
scenario, as undrammatic or as unglamorous as that sounds.
When you get older, life is
He
like
went.
an obstacle course. The older you get, the more careful you walk through life.
Yeah, but those crocs are
Damn
dangerous.
entropy.
But those
I got
those
something
crocs
to
are
say.
dangerous on certain surfaces. If it's like a
The
little
wet
wet,
rain.
you slide all over the place.
You know
Yeah,
what's
you
funny
can't.
though is I catch myself. I catch myself telling little kids, "Watch that ankle." Like they don't give a damn.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now we are joined by, who's that trying to join? 10th Man Rising, right in the middle of my intro is normally Arwin, so let's get him in before I say his name. So we are joined by 10th Man Rising, the Adam Meakin, Arwin, Neil, Chocolate Saying, Eli, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome, one and all.
Yeah. Let's get it on. Now that's more like it. A full panel.
Hey, let's go.
Hello.
Hello.
Yo.
Hello.
Good morning.
That was
Afternoon, everyone.
very, very, very well. Who was it that said
I
hello?
guess everybody got paid.
Everybody got paid for what? Was there a
I
payday
don't know, there's a
somewhere?
full panel here.
I wasn't involved. Who told me?
It's a full panel. Everybody must have got paid.
Oh, see, it is first of the month. That's obviously why it's on your mind, right? Or it's not the first of the month, is it? Second of the month. But anyway, let's get down to business. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
93 million miles away, according to the textbooks.
You're going to need an R value for that, though. Somebody else said yes. No one's taking responsibility.
Exactly.
Okay.
We did come up with a more plausible version of 3R winning units, which instead of being based on a presupposed R value is based on the distance to a rainbow.
Wow.
Well, those are apparent distances. It's not exactly an actual distance.
Well, the sun's apparent, so's a rainbow, so that seems a fair scale.
I thought that's what an AU was. Same distance as distance to the rainbow. I mean, I thought that was you that came up with that.
No, it is, but it's not really an actual distance. to
No,
the
it's
sun.
shocking. Anyway, quick
It
shout out
is.
to Godzilla. Hold on.
Three.
Hold on. Quick shout out to Godzilla 37, who gifted 5 memberships, right? I thought, I wonder how quickly they'll go. Now, before anybody else had a chance to chat, all 5 were taken immediately. It's like people poised over their mouse ready to take up free memberships. Big shout out to you, all of you, for joining as members. And also, obviously, big shout out to Godzilla 37 for gifting all of those memberships. So thank you very much indeed. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
it is
the
an actual
person-
distance, Arwen. Because
Someone else
it's
is trying to get a word in. Whoever that is
actually
was-
3
ahead.
times the
Well-
distance to the sun as it is to the rainbow.
Well, Jadot was trying to
But
get in.
there's
He's
no
the one that
actual
said yes
distance
to
to
the
the
house.
rainbow either. So
They're not going to yield to
I
you,
didn't-
righteous.
Well,
As-
well, it's somebody else in Discord. He said yes to the question, right? And he was trying to say something.
Go ahead,
And there might
Jado.
be there might be a delay for him, but give him a moment and let's see
I
what he
heard
has
him.
to say.
Go ahead, Jado.
Hello, everyone. The distance to the sun is exactly double the distance as it is halfway from the observer to the sun.
Yeah, but you have to validate that the sun is a physical object with a distance measurable to it. Have you done that?
If I halve the distance to the sun from the observer to the sun, I don't need to validate it.
This is paradox.
I
is
I
why-
understand. Hold on. I understand your logical, consistent statement, right? However, it does still apply in terms of the physical assumption that you've got in that regard. Yeah.
This is why an Orwellian unit is crafted in such a way as to be apparent distance. But its definition is via an apparent distance of the rainbow. If you're going to have, as Nathan's pointing out, if you're going to say it's half the distance of what it's double the distance of half of what it is, then that's still at giving Orwin physicality assumption bias.
I want to check that he follows along. Do you understand what we've just explained, Jardo?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Any evidence the R value as the heliocentric assumption of the 93 million mile or 96, I forget which, mile sun comes with an assumption of R to impose on Venus and apply Kepler's third law? Any evidence thereof? R value?
it's
Earth
an
radius?
axiom. It's an axiom.
No. Axioms, just because somebody explained yesterday, I can't remember who, I think it was Adam, that means it's self-evident. Well, self-evident within a model of heliocentrism. In other words, if you're holding up a globe and you say, well, it's self-evident. Yeah, for the model.
Exactly.
Well, it's an axiom for a globe model. It's not an axiom for our world, Arwin. Maybe
Exactly.
no. I think
That's where the
I
axiom
detect.
is an
Wait,
axiom.
we
I
don't
detect
live on a
that.
globe model?
I want Adam to define it again. I suspect you've slightly, not much, but just slightly misinterpreted what Adam made. I thought very clear. Maybe Adam, if you would, can you clarify again what an axiom is? I don't know if you're scrambling to do stuff or you've got stuff on. If not, I'll just move on.
No, in maths or logic, an axiom is an unprovable rule or first principle accepted as true because it's self-evident or particularly useful. In the case of what we're talking there, then it could be an axiom within geometry, or it could be an axiom within the model that we recognize that it's not an axiom in reality.
Perfect.
So a good example would be within the ball Earth model, the distance to the horizon, as stated in the logical syllogism, can be no more than 1.22. That could be, you could derive from that from the axiom that the horizon is the leading edge of a sphere in the model.
Right, but if you don't know the difference between a model and reality, then it works perfectly.
Perfect. I love
And
this.
that's
What
Yes.
model?
No, let's acknowledge that. I like it when Arwin's good as opposed to just defiant. Yes, absolutely correct, Darwin. If you don't know the difference, then it cements itself as the world in your mind's eye at that moment because you don't realise that describing an R-based assumption, most people do it without even thinking about it. Like the guys I debated. Oh, it's that starting point. Of course we're going to assume we're on a sphere. Yeah? Well, that's because it's their axiom. But they didn't realise the difference between an axiom for a sphere that you're holding up as a model versus the ground beneath your feet. The two are not the same. That's a reification. So Owen's absolutely spot on. I just want to acknowledge him. Go ahead, Adam.
If R is an axiom, can be considered an axiom, doesn't R require you to live on a ball? So wouldn't that require the living on a ball part to be self-evident?
Exactly.
Yeah,
The bit
that's
that's-
also an axiom.
No. The ball bit's not self-evident, so you can't use that part of the definition of an axiom. It's self-evident for the model because you're holding it. If you metaphorically or physically, you're holding a ball. So you say, well, it's an axiom. It's got an R value. Obviously, it's a ball. Yeah, but that's a model of the world. Now, to say, well, that means the world's got an R value is a reification fallacy. Ergo, the axiom you're claiming for the world is not self-evident. There is no self-evident R value.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, we're going to finish off
Fair
Invicta.
enough.
It's only about 4 minutes left, 4 or 5 minutes. You're around 10th. Is he here yet?
Yeah. I've just had internet troubles. You left off at 10:10.
Oh, I thought it was 9:10. Okay, 10:10. So yeah, I'll do the full shebango in terms of introducing it correctly. Once I've got to the right mark, there we go. That'll do. So this video, and I'm going to do this as I have started previously, and we'll continue with every single reaction video to share this guy's video. Make sure you go and check it out. Maybe leave a positive comment. Let him know I sent you. Nathan Oakley sent me here. I subscribed. You're wonderful. Anyway, there's his link. So go and check him out if you're in the live stream chat right now. And do unto others and all that sort of stuff. So I'd hope that should somebody react to one of the videos we've done, they would extend me the same courtesy. Anyway, we're going to rattle our way through the last 4 minutes or so. There's probably only 3 minutes of actual material. We'll see how we get on.
Ordered the value to be 5,000 stadia. Therefore, he concluded the Earth's circumference must be about 250,000 stadia. This value was amazingly accurate, and depending on the
we won't cover the begging the question fallacy that was tailing into this next section, just because I want to get through this. No offense to you, Invicta.
exact conversion of stades used resulted in an error of only 5 to 10% from the true value. Future mathematicians would replicate.
I hate this mouse. I've ordered a new battery. Begrudgingly parted with £20. Anyway, sorry. Compared to the real value, where did you get that from to compare it? So he was within what margin of what error from what measurement to say he was what 5% is the standard deviation that we get sort of stated here. Yeah, it's within 5% of the exact value of a spherical Earth, which was demonstrated and measured by who and where. Oh, it isn't. It's just a baseless assertion fallacy. It was within 5% of a measurement that you haven't produced to verify it was within 5% of it, or whatever percentage you gave. Go ahead.
But the guy produced it, right? So they're comparing what the accurate value that this guy got, but that's where they got the value. That's cute.
Well, this is
It's not as good as Al-Biruni. I think he got it within 3% of the actual value. Still yet to determine where the actual value could be got from. I mean, you're not going to get it from the horizon.
this is Eratosthenes that he's talking about with the sticks and the shadows. So
Correct.
Obviously, when the sun is directly over the well, it's got a 90-degree zenith position to it. The stick that's casting the shadow is in miles, assumably 500 miles away. That's the 5,000 stadia converts to that according to the people who write about this. So if the sun is overhead in one place and you're 500 miles away in another place, and you put a stick vertical to the horizontal ground, you're going to have an angle to the sun, much like what the sextant does. And the angle is casting the shadow. But they have to assume first that they live on a globe, and then they use the shadow, which they got from the flat Earth angle measurement to the sun, and said, this is the difference. And so that's how they came up with this whole nonsense.
Sure. This
Doesn't
is
make any
evolved from
sense.
one of the very first arguments I ever saw debunked by Math Powerland, where he just took a couple of studio lights and a couple of sticks, put them in the ground, and showed exactly what was just described by 10th Man, debunking the entire notion by suggesting you can do the same thing on a flat plane. Now, when we move further into the argument, we discover that, shock and awe, they assumed an R value when they made the assertion, as is clearly demonstrated when they decide that they're going to be measuring it based on its angle to the centre of a sphere Earth, they've presupposed. So shock and awe, they presupposed a spherical Earth. Move on to 2021/2022, and we're disseminating the starting points of us realising that they're never going to get the angle measurement in the first instance unless they're measuring it off a flat plane. Further to that, Al-Biruni, as he got mentioned, had to measure the height of the mountain with angles off a flat plane. So every single starting point for all of these angle measurements always requires a flat plane, without exception. So the further we go down the rabbit hole, the more we discover that the necessity for a flat Earth is paramount. With all the assertions that we have put to us, they all required a flat Earth, because they all were derived from these angles. Well, angles don't come from a curved Earth surface. They come from a flat baseline. You can only achieve that if the ground you're actually navigating is flat. That's how it works. That's how it's navigated. That's how all the maps and models have been made, including the globe.
Replicate the experiment, or devise other
Not an experiment.
means of calculating the value themselves. Posidonius of the 1st century BC, for instance, would take measurements by referencing the position of the star Chaopus rather than the sun. Thus, the ancient world was soon becoming filled with a growing...
Yeah, I already had covered what he had on his diagram in terms of their presuppositional moving to the centre of a sphere Earth, calculation of the angles. So we covered all of that yesterday, so that diagram, there you go, it's been addressed.
number of empirically determined data points.
Someone off mute? Did someone want to say something?
Yeah, it's me. I just wanted to. I just find it kind of funny that they call flat Earth archaic and make it seem like it's the old and busted. But whenever you ask them for proof of their nonsense, where do they go?
Oh, to thousands of years ago in Sticks and Shadows and Wells. Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
It's projection. Like with all of it, like boats falling over the edge of a flat Earth pizza pie flying up at 9.8 meters per second squared through a sky vacuum. Well, your boat's going to fall over the edge of that model of a flat Earth. Really? Given that I didn't claim that model, and it's absurd to assert that boats will fall over the edge of anything. Oh, what's that? But actually, boats are falling over the edge of the horizon, so it's merely projection. You know, trying to overcome the crapness of your own argument when it comes to your assertion that boats fall over the edge of Earth curve at the horizon. You'll tell us, with a diagrammatical example, that boats fall off the edge of a pizza pie. Yeah, just projection. Same with this.
Nathan, he said experiment, then later he said this guy's name, and then after that, empirically proven data points. Can we see the hypothesis, or is this just math? Is this using a flat Earth and shadows and pre-assuming a globe? What's he doing here?
The latter.
About the spherical shape of the Earth. This would all prove extremely useful to the travelers and geographers of the period. For instance, Claudius Ptolemy of the 2nd century AD.
Why isn't this mapped spherically? The guy's holding up a globe. Why isn't the map that shape? That's the problem, right? I'll tell you why, because it's derived from angles to the stars. That's why.
He would use the data in his book, Geography. Here he introduced the concepts of latitude and longitude to...
Oh dear. Really? Latitude lines? What, the ones that came from a flat Earth elevation angle measurement to Polaris? In his book on geography. Well, that's going to be a problem for your assertions that we're on a sphere, because the angle measurements to Polaris to derive the areas of equal elevation and the latitude lines require a flat Earth. So this proves a flat Earth. Straight off the bat, this ancient guy, he's not debunking flat Earth. He's talking about the angle measurements that give him these lines. Yeah, those are areas of equal elevation measured with an angle to Polaris. You need a flat Earth for that, Dumbo. Why are you, Invicta? Not very well researched. If you're going to talk about latitude and longitude lines, do you think you should really find out where the ancients derived those from? Not just talk about this clown holding up a globe and showing a flat map. You know, that's not really going to cut the mustard.
To create a series of
which are archaic model.
Hang on. This is important, because this is why when researching celestial navigation, when I said, where's the angle coming from? It was never from a curved surface. It was always from the equatorial plane. In fact, the Nautical Almanac says all the angle measurements are from the equatorial plane. Well, equatorial plane is not a curved surface.
That's a plane. The only way you can get angles is from a plane. Which plane? Well, the one we derived with flat Earth angles to Polaris. So we'll put it on that plane, the equatorial plane. What, does that wrap around the edge of a sphere? Oh, no, hell no. No, not if you're using it for anything useful, then you need angles from it. So it's got to be flat. Obviously, it's the equatorial plane. What's that? You've got some deluded, nonsensical idea about it wrapping around the outside edge of a sphere? Nah, the very concept itself has come from a flat plane. I mean, obviously, some dumbos at some point, like this guy holding up a golden globe, thinks that you can wrap flat Earth elevation angle measurements around a spherical surface. It's absurd. And the very map he's got on screen proves that that's not how they're used, and to this day they are all still flat. Maps, that is. Because they're all still used with angles to the stars. So this isn't really debunking a flat Earth from ages ago. It's showing that ages ago they used a flat Earth to bastardize the angles into a flat surface that didn't work anymore when they curved it.
Can I read something?
Yeah?
Okay, the definition of plane, a flat surface on which a straight line joining any 2 points on it would wholly lie the horizontal plane, a level of existence, thought, or development. Everything is connected. Oh, that don't apply. But it's a flat surface.
Projected
Yeah, that's
maps
like
with coordinates
fourth grade geography.
for all sorts of important locations. This seminal work would be deeply influential in the development of cartography. By the height of the Roman Empire, the Mediterranean world experienced an unprecedented degree.
Why isn't this map globe-shaped? What's going on? Just me? And we haven't had a single globe shape. Well, the cartoon's holding a globe, right? Why would it be that you're presenting yet another non-globe shaped map?
Cartoon is not holding a globe. Cartoon is holding a celestial sphere.
Oh, is he now? What, with the equatorial plane at its centre?
Yeah, can you see those rings? Yeah, that's what that is, yeah.
All right, so this big band around the outside of it is the actual equatorial plane, the flat plane that the angles will come from to the celestial sphere that he's holding. Isn't that interesting? Maybe you wanted to look into it beyond what I obviously realised, because Adam's got there before I did. But no, he's not holding a globe, he's holding a celestial sphere. And the plane at its centre would be a lot more akin to this flat map that you've got on screen. Again, not globe-shaped, total fail.
Of connectivity. This ensured that the findings of around Earth were heard far and wide.
Heard? Not self-evident then, not an axiom. Just heard. What, so people told them about the shape? Did the people realise that the angles that we used to derive the latitude lines had come from a flat plane? Perhaps they weren't smart enough. But your weather vane will point you in the direction of idiots that curved the straight line. Yeah? Meaning it no longer had use in navigation. But obviously the model existed at that point. It just didn't mean it was useful for anything. It wasn't. It never was. It came from a flat Earth in the first place. Your globe, that is. But they were told, were they? Go on, whoever that was.
Sorry, when they were sailing, did they have a globe on the ship or a map?
Well, we haven't been given an example so far. We've been shown lots of flat maps for the reasons I detail as a flat earther that are accurate.
Even if the scientific reasons were not shared with...
Sorry, scientific reasons. Though they were just told about a bastardization of flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the stars and the latitude lines that were placed onto, not globe maps that you showed us, just maps that were flat. Yeah? That's what we got. But you're now going to tell us that this is science? What an outrage. You don't know what science is, Invicta. Yeah, I would implore you to not use that word again. You don't know what it means. Don't say science when you don't know the meaning of the word. This is not science. This is not the establishment of cause and effect reasoning based on a hypothesis after observing a phenomena. Nothing's happened. Other than people being told that flat Earth elevation angle measurements and latitude lines actually aren't angles at all. They bend around a sphere, while a dude in your cartoon holds a celestial sphere. Not a globe. Yeah? The thing that's useful for the angles that you described, and you gave us an aspect of the mapping. Yeah? Latitude and longitude. You should have looked it up before you barked about it, you stupid idiot, Invicta.
Yeah, Nathan, in that...
I've got it up.
I put an image. Okay. So this latitude and longitude, this all comes from the center of their Earth. That's where they project it from. And that's the equatorial plane. and then they project that onto the celestial sphere and say we have a sky map, and that's how they put it up on into the planetariums and so forth. More to come on that, but here's the point here. See that pink circled disc? That's where the angles come from, not from the curved surface that's in the green and goldish color that shows the latitude, longitude.
With everyone, the concept itself seeped into the population's general consciousness. For instance,
The concept of a globe seeped into the consciousness, never a true word spoken. Not the measurements, not the self-evident truth, not the obviously observably, navigatably globe-shaped surface that they were all dealing with. On the contrary. No, they were all measuring and dealing with and navigating on a flat surface. That's what the world is. In spite of this permeating through the populace.
Since the Roman Empire was quick to adopt the globe as a symbol of divine imperial power.
So that's what it is. A symbol of imperialist power. Not the surface you're standing on. You know, this is the only truth he's actually spat throughout the whole video. Quick shout out to Godzilla37. This interruption brought to you by chocolate. Everyone loves chocolate. Shout out to chocolate. Carry on the show and crew.
Yeah. Nathan, wasn't the
Shout out to
emblem...
Godzilla. Sorry.
No, it's all right. Wasn't the emblem an eagle? When...
I don't know. Symbolism isn't my thing. Was there something else? 10th?
No, I just always thought that the Roman emblem for power was a staff with an eagle on it. Never saw a globe.
Regardless of what this total crappy ancient history lesson with very little research put into it. Currently, the heliocentric model is the one world religion. Not that we see a model. Go ahead, Adam.
It's not a globe per se, is it? It's an orb, which is to signify a sovereign strength. I think predates globe theology anyway. So again, I would suggest the origin being a celestial sphere to show power over the realm. But it's not claimed as a globe. It's an orb and scepter. If you think about what the Queen, what Charlie will have in a bit, he'll have an orb and scepter, which is to signify power. It's not a globe to make a claim as to what the Earth is, which is what they're trying to paint it as.
This round Earth imagery can be found on all sorts of artifacts.
We just covered that. Not round Earth imagery.
Like coinage.
It's crap. You should have done better research, mate. Yeah? By the way, kudos to Adam Meakin, somebody who's actually well researched in this.
As an example, here's a coin from the reign of Tiberius, showing the emperor's dominion over the entire spherical world.
It's the same. It's got a band through the middle of the globe. I can only make it out on the top right-hand corner. Coin. But that is most assuredly this. That is the celestial sphere. That's why it's got a band around it, in the same exact orientation as the one I've got on screen now. So no. And as Adam's just pointed out, this predates the notion. Anyway, so why would you assume that prior to the notion being actually developed and put into the institutions via the Roman Catholic Church, that somehow this depiction of the celestial sphere, which is where all the angles that you described yourself, you just hadn't researched what they meant when you mentioned them for the mapping, that's where they came from. So which is more likely, that this is depicting the elevation angle measurements to the stars that's being used back then on a plane, or is it a reference to the globe that nobody's actually talked about yet? I'm pretty sure it's the former.
Shout out to Skeptic936.
This interruption brought to you by Arwin. I like the super chats today. They're very, very amusing. Yes, shout out to Skeptic936. Says, this interruption brought to you by Arwin. Everyone loves Arwin. Carry on. Very good.
The top right coin, Nathan.
Yes.
You can see the equatorial plane marked on the sphere. What's interesting, there's nothing. There's not even a little bit of an indication of maybe Italy to imply that that's a planet. It's not. It's clearly marked as a celestial sphere. There's no land masses on there, is there? Look, it's just the celestial sphere. And again, some kind of scepter with it. If you look at the other coins, just like say the Queen's coronation, it's an orb and scepter. He's right in saying it's to signify power, but it's domain is what it signifies. Well, celestial sphere shows exactly the domain you control.
Yeah, I mean, this guy should be should just be better researched, right? He should just know his stuff. He's putting it out there. He's got 1.3 million subs. Well, people are gobbling this stuff down like it's factually accurate in any way, shape, or form. No, he's just affirming his globe bias and looking to the past and seeing something spherical and going, oh, globe Earth, obviously. Oh, no, did you research it? Or did you just look at these coins in pictures and go, oh, look, there's what I was looking for? Shout out to Blue Ridge Ranger. I'll double down on chocolate, presumably in reference to the interruptions. Thank you very much, Blue Ridge Ranger, for the super chat. Also, shout out again to Godzilla37. This interruption brought to you by 10th Man. Everyone loves 10th Man. And the other 9 aren't here. Okay, thank you very much. Really appreciate all the super chats. Thank you so much.
Shout out to all you guys.
The spherical shape of the Earth would continue to dominate scholarship in late antiquity as a simple, matter-of-fact observation. And
really? When did you offer that? There were no matter-of-fact observations, and everything that you showed confirmed a flat Earth. Everything you detailed in terms of the mapping required a flat Earth to get the angles. So no. What you said earlier, yeah, that was definitely much more accurate. In terms of it just, I can't remember how I phrased it, but permeating the mind's eye of the people, the masses. Yeah, that was what was going on. It wasn't suddenly self-evident because they've told you Earth's a sphere and the idea's catching on. That doesn't suddenly make it self-evident. The indoctrination might be self-evident. Shout out to Uncle Ben. Gives me a super sticker of a Tweety bird playing a trumpet. Thank you very much indeed. Really appreciate it. Also, Rene, thank you very much indeed for the super chat. He says, Actonuts, fake space underwater. Yeah, that's true. Can't have gas pressure without a container. They're going to fake floating around. They're going to only be doing it in stuff that you can float around in, which is water. And what do you know? They've got the deep submersion tanks where they've got a full-scale ISS on it. Well, I mean, that doesn't mean that that's where space is. It does.
It's only training, Nathan.
Yeah, that's space. That's what you see. If you're seeing live footage, that's what it is. That's just how it is. Don't have to like it. Thank you very much for the super chats. Really appreciate the support.
I mean, obviously, you do your training in a different medium than usually, right? I mean, that's how you learn. You learn how to swim on a racetrack, right? That's how you do that.
That's strictly true. I did learn how to parachute underwater because obviously.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, this explains bubbles in swimming pools, not bubbles in space.
Indeed.
And debate moved on to more advanced topics like the arrangement.
Right, debate. You just said it was self-evident. There'd be no debate. It's self-contradicting in the same breath. The self-evident truth was settled in debate. No, that's not how it works. Right, if you hear this show regularly enough, you'll have every so often someone come up on the panel and go, why do we even call this a debate? Right? It's self-evidently flat. That's how it's dealt with. Why are we calling it a debate? Yeah, it's just the show title, really. I mean, it isn't up for debate. It is actually self-evident. It's obviously, observably, navigatably, measurably flat. Earth is flat. So, no, it's not really a debate anymore. You know, do you see anyone here debating with us? No, that's because they know they lose. The people who are regulars, the anti-flat earthers, the ones that really have a cognitive pain that they need to relieve by telling us we're wrong. Yeah, they came here to relieve that pain and then very quickly felt that they were in more pain because they didn't win when the self-evident truth was pointed out to them. So it wasn't a debate, it was a massacre because we're the ones with self-evident truth. But you, contrary to me, don't have the self-evident globe truth. You've just got the notion of a globe being permeated throughout the populace at this particular time, according to your crap research. So, wow, more super chats coming in. Super chats coming in thick and fast. Godzilla37, wow, you've been very, very, very generous today. Really appreciate all this support. Shout out to Adam, the original flat earther. Then came Eve. Shout out to Eli, says Skeptic936. Man, there's so much support coming through. Rene, again, thank you so much for your super chats. Fight the CGI globe. Thank you, Nathan, for exposing the pseudoscience globe diarrhea. Yeah, I don't do that very much. We just say space is fake because it's a second law of thermodynamics violation. But I appreciate people like yourself who point out that, you know, we do have submersion tanks with the ISS on. There are explanations for people's belief in the second law of thermodynamics violation, sky vacuum. But I do appreciate the support. Obviously, it's getting read. People are hearing it, which is
missed
important.
my shout out.
Where's your shout out? That interruption was brought
shouted
to you
me
by
out and
Neil.
you didn't
It didn't
say
need
it.
paying for. It came anyway.
No, Skep paid for it. He said shout out to Neil and you ignored it.
Oh, did I? Where's that?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I didn't see it, Neil. Okay, I can't see it. But shout out to Neil. Also, shout out to Melissa Petic. Hope I've said your name right. He says, woot! With a wavy disco man. That's what I'm going to call it. And the super chats keep coming. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to keep reading them out as long as they keep coming out. Shout out to Godzilla. Hold on one sec. Shout out to Godzilla936. Says Skeptic936. Thank you very much indeed. Did I say Godzilla936? Maybe I did. Thank you for the super chats.
Neil's one, because he'll moan if we don't read it. There you go. This interruption brought to you by Neil. Everyone loves Neil. Carry on.
And that is affirmed by Hillside, who says, shout out to Neil, lol. Thank you for the super chats. I don't know how this has become the most profitable day in a long time, but it has. And another super chat from Godzilla. This is going to be a show shouting out super chats. Shout out to Neil again. Jeez, Nathan. Okay, look, we are going to carry on. If there's more super chats to come through, I will get to them at the end. I have to draw a line somewhere. As much as I love the audience participation, as profitable as it is,
of the cosmos. Yet as today, there would still be individuals bucking the adopted view. Theological opposition was one
I thought it was self-evident. Right? Why would there be people at all to buck the view, as you put it, if it was a self-evident truth? I wouldn't be sat here, right, as that's what you're now going to stereotype, undoubtedly. I wouldn't be sat here if the globe was self-evident.
particular source.
Yeah, he says the adopted view. Why would you adopt something that's self-evident? It would just be self-evident.
Just on that, I think, was it Monday? I was mentioning the word axiomatic and did point out that it's interesting synergy in it, really. That self-evident truth is another way of using. That's what an axiom is. So it's interesting, as we've been discussing, how could you use the term axiom when we're talking about the Sheffield? We admitted we can't. That seems to be the sort of substance of his claim. It's an axiom, a self-evident truth that it's a ball. He's working from that premise. I mean, fundamentally, that's what Eratosthenes is doing. He's working from the premise, the axiom, his so-called self-evident truth that it's a ball, to then use the numbers in a spherical way, not in a planar way.
Another couple of quick shout-outs. So shout out to Joe of Vilcomer. He says, I feel left out. Thanks for all the great content, Nathan. And I'm going to extend that to all the panel as well. But thank you very much for the super chat, Joe. Really appreciate the support. And indeed from Gene, who's one of the panel members who are fantastic. He says, from Gene has a question. Super chat from Gene, the Mexican, who are all eternally welcome here.
Have I got time for just a quick amendment, addition to my Auburn scepter?
Yeah, that's been welcomed.
Only because if you go and look it up straight away, you're going to look at the Queens and you're going to look at the modern ones, which will have a cross on the top. Now that's attributed to Christ's power. If you look at the orb itself, it's a symbol of godly power, and the scepter is a symbol of temporal power, earthly, reign of the monarch. So I'd ask, what is a symbol of godly power? And more fundamentally, look at those old coins. There was nothing stuck on the top there. They weren't crystallized, turned into a Christian thing. So If you look at that, the modern orb with the cross on the top, they'll claim the 3 sections represent the 3 continents. Again, not representative really of an orb, just the segments of the known world. But the origination is, if you look at the coins and that, is just that celestial sphere. And like I said, that's the point of both the orb, the godly power, and the scepter to demonstrate the temporal power. Done. That was just to clarify.
No, well worth clarifying. Thank you very much.
Opposition. The Syriac Christians were one notable community of flat earthers, while some notable adherents included Lactantius, an advisor of Emperor Constantine, who not only
Hey, John.
Hello.
All right, we can hear you. Good.
promoted the flat earth concept, but also even went so far as to mock those who opposed him. By and large, however, most learned Christian...
So why is that highlighted, right? He even mocked people who opposed him. Now, typically, we have to defend the ingrained, indoctrinated religious faith in heliocentrism when people challenge us, or when they used to challenge us before they all had their asses handed to them. Whereas in this, he's highlighted it like it's unreasonable to mock somebody for assuming the indoctrinated truth that they've been led to believe as he's detailed, when they understand and appreciate the obvious and observable navigatably flat plane that they actually exist upon. Now, for me, neither is justified. You shouldn't be mocking anybody. But in real terms, why highlight that and put a little false, bit of disdain in your voice when it's not globe earthers who need sympathy for being mocked? Yet the fear that you, especially people who in this regard make videos about the subject, all they're doing is exercising their fear against the subject by saying, look, I can affirm how right I was all along with this video about how wrong flat earthers are. And the very notion of this is only on YouTube because of the current prevalence of flat earthers. In other words, that's the whole basis of you making this video. Yet you want to put a little punctuation mark at the fact that this guy mocked people for not appreciating how flat the earth obviously is. Oh no, how terrible. Yeah, we suffer it daily, my friend.
authors, and virtually all cosmologists of note, agreed on the well-backed sphericity of the globe.
Pause.
What? Go ahead. No, you got there first. Go ahead.
Nonsense. What he's doing here, he said theologically first, and then he went into the Syriac Christians and other Christians, and then he did that mocking routine there. But then, prior to that, the staff with the orb and so forth. Okay, so the Catholic Church with its Lucifer telescopes and all with Copernicus and all, the stories, of course, they can make it up as it goes. Some of these never happen, but they have to make it happen so they have a history to talk about. So we go right now on YouTube, under your channel, it says archaic. Archaic meaning back then. Back then what? Back then they believed in the flat earth. Okay, now what? Well, no, it's a globe because we have proof for spheres, for the sphere. Well, like you said, we wouldn't have a show if it was self-evident that we were on a sphere. So they're joining the power of the state, and not just Christian, but any religion, because that represents someone who believes in God, and saying it's a globe. And then they're leaving out the true Christians or anybody who believed in their religion that the earth is flat. They're just making this separation here. Okay, but true Christians fought this, and the Catholic Church has a lot of history to account for. Like, people who said this, they burned, and then if you say this, they destroyed the Bible because they didn't want you to read it. So this is very important for people to understand what's happening here. This is the state church, the church that's not God's church, married to the state. And of course, they're going to hoist the false globe. And this is what he's not telling you.
With the fall of the Western Roman Empire, however, parts of Europe...
Why isn't this map globe-shaped?
did experience a resurgence of flat earth belief during the Middle Ages. This was in part due to the large-scale migration of Germanic and Norse tribes, whose culture is still held to the antiquated views of a flat Earth.
Yeah, like 10th Man just highlighted. So these are antiquated views. Why haven't you got a globe map? What's this? Looks flat. It is flat. So why? When you're telling us how archaic it was. Yeah?
Antiquated.
Antiquated.
What was the name of the guy that he went to again? What was that guy's name?
Aristophanes.
Oh, how long ago was that?
A long time ago.
Oh, okay.
We don't even know if he existed.
It's part of the narrative that he's appealing to, regardless of the guy's true existence or not.
With the swinging of the civilizational pendulum away from scientific scholarship and towards dogmatic religion.
Yeah, globe earth dogmatic religion. In terms of scientific validity, you're outside the purview of scientific investigation you're appealing to. You don't know what science is. Go ahead, whoever that was.
That was me. Thank you for catching that, Nathan. That was real quick, faster than I could. Dogmatic religion. Born in the crib with a globe, go to kindergarten, the globe, everything a globe. Who's talking about religion?
However, I don't want to overemphasize this point, as they...
Why isn't this map globe-shaped? Yet another flat representation. Not looking good. Would it be because the concepts and notions that these maps have been projected out spherically and then back onto flat maps originated with flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the stars? You know, like in the ones that were being held by all of those men in the coins that you had. Yeah, that'd be a celestial sphere, the one that's capable of giving you your latitude lines and your longitude lines that you talked about. Yeah, where do you think they came from? Yeah, certainly not from this globe-shaped map that you've got on screen. Oh no, it's another flat map. Maybe you should have investigated why that was.
The idea of a bleak dark age has been pretty thoroughly debunked by modern historians. After all, there would be much continuity in the Eastern Mediterranean, and even great leaps in understanding of the world during the Islamic Golden Age, which we'll be covering in another video. For now, this is where we will end things.
With absolutely zero validity being offered to a sphere, one of the circles that he's got in his summary slide showing an angle off a curved surface. My friend, you see how you've drawn this out and put this little depiction that suggests this is an angle measurement? This is not an angle. Yet you don't seem to understand what an angle is. An angle is two straight lines meeting at a vertex. Yeah? This isn't that. This is a straight line meeting a curved surface. That doesn't give you an angle. Yeah, so your summary proves all of the maps and models that were talked about and shown, not a single globe one, I might add, needed a flat Earth to derive them in the first instance. That's this slide showing how your globe fails, by this not being an angle. Were you stupid when you put this up on screen and edited this into the video? Because this isn't an angle. I mean, how thick are you? You don't know what an angle is. This isn't it. You notice how you've got your boat obscured by a physical geometric limitation to your view at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. I know you didn't mention any of the maths, Invicta. I did. It's because I know them by heart. Meanwhile, we debunked the physical limitation to your view. We can show objects that have actually got measured distance and are supposed to be blocked by a physical earth curve hill between you and them, with the claim to be hill blocking them behind them, not blocking them, beyond them. That debunks any notion of a physical obstruction to the boat in this cartoon. Right? So, no, definitely not. Oh, what are these? Are these... Oh, it's a planet Earth that he assumed. Right? With a radial value? Yeah, none of this shadow nonsense worked either. We covered all of that too, didn't we? Your presuppositional Kepler-based shadows. So, I mean, this summary slide is a pretty good way of me covering all three of the days that we've covered this video, in terms of how much it fails and how much it proved a flat Earth. Because every concept and notion that he summarized doesn't work.
I hope you've learned a bit about how far back the idea of a round Earth actually goes.
It didn't. Now, the idea that you've got on screen a summary doesn't work. It had to be flat to work.
and I'd love to see how the flat earth community engages with this sort of rich historical discussion.
Excellent. You better damn well put my link when you cover this. So you're appealing for us to respond. I didn't know you were going to do that. But yeah, I'd like a response. I would definitely like you to make sure you return the favour and put a link to my video when you cover this, like I've done. I'll do it again now just to make the point. Here's a link for the live stream to Invicta, so you can go and subscribe and grow his channel so you can see more absolutely useless research where he affirms flat earth elevation angle measurements and somehow implies that they're capable of being derived from a curved surface. How stupid. Meanwhile, I've definitely shared your link and given you a little thumbs up because I appreciate the content that we've ripped to shreds. So obviously, given that you're inviting this and now you know what a flat earther has got to say about it, yeah? When I summarised it with your slides that don't work and have been debunked on screen. So yeah, I hope I get a response from you, and you better share my link when you do.
In particular, I highly...
Why isn't this map globe-shaped? What gives? Yet another flat map? Isn't that interesting? You wonder what flat earthers are saying, and then you cut to the slide of a flat map. Not a globe-shaped one, my friend.
recommend that they try out the simple experiment of air...
You don't know what science is, Invicta. I implore you for the second time. Do not talk about something you do not understand. This is not science. For the benefit of my audience and yourself. Science is the establishment of cause and effect reasoning based on hypotheses. Those hypotheses will establish the cause, independent variable, of an effect, dependent variable, that you observed in nature and wanted to know the cause of. It's a suppositional statement that has the antithesis within. That's a null. If you vary your assumed cause of an effect you're studying in nature, it won't cause it. That's a null. That is an experiment when actualized. That would be to say you vary the thing you assume causes the effect you're studying and see if it actually causes it. That's an experiment. That's science. Once you've done that, you can form a theory. Now, you've used these words and you don't know what they mean. So if you wanted to know what a flat earther would have to say about your video, this is it. Don't talk about science. You don't know what you're talking about, and do better research. If you see someone holding up something that's seemingly globe-shaped, make sure you check it's not actually a flat earth at the centre of a celestial sphere. Because otherwise, this flat earther is going to make you look very, very, very stupid. This flat earther, along with absolutely exceptional help. He probably wouldn't have got anywhere near this standard without them around him, which I'm not going to deny. I'm very proud of my panel. Meanwhile, we are flat earth. And this on screen now is not a globe. Let's get clear what's happened. Now you've appealed to what might happen when you made this video. You had your ass handed to you, and everything you said was utterly ripped to shreds for a live, paying, I might add, audience. Quick shout out to exactly that, which is a shout out to Jamal's24, who says, I think we need 4 more hours. What are the viewing figures looking like? 109 watching. Sorry, Jamal's24. It's not looking likely. But share the show. I haven't encouraged that as much as Super Chats. I've got to be honest, I'd rather have the money. But I'd love it if 150 people were watching, because then we'd definitely extend the show. But it's been a great day, I'm not going to lie. And that is, that's why Invicta got a thumbs up from me, and I'm, encouraging people to go and check out his video. If you do, by the way, go and check out Invicta's video. Make sure you buck the trend. Do not do as is done to us. Don't go and call him an idiot. It's fine when there's a specific reference of idiocy, like in these videos. So I'm not saying do as I say, not as I do, when I'm saying I do it specifically with a demonstrable, evidenceable example of idiocy. That's the difference, right? However, he's just a YouTuber who's out doing his thing, and I'd like you to buck the trend of being basically bullies because you're suddenly scared of someone who opposes your flat earth belief, if that's what it is. That's the only reason I can see that you'd be out there being nasty to people. Don't be. But on the other hand, tell him why you've come. Nathan Oakley, 1980, sent me. Love your channel, subscribed. Hope it grows your 1.5 million viewer base, or 1.31 million viewer base.
Eratosthenes themselves, or join in on the global experiment online.
Not an experiment.
I wanted to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Their awesome platform makes it super easy to tunes within a blog and posts/Invicta, future content. If you found this topic interesting, check out these related videos about our fascinating past. Be sure to like and subscribe for more history, and check out
not very well researched history, let's be honest. But yeah, go and like and subscribe and let him know Nathan Oakley 1980 sent you. And I thank you personally, Invicta, for giving us the opportunity to respond. Now you know. You didn't know before what flat earthers might have to say about your rubbish research, and you probably didn't anticipate that what you'd actually researched didn't prove a globe, required a flat plane, and the pictorial examples from history weren't showing a globe, but actually showing a flat plane with a celestial sphere surrounding it. Yeah, you probably weren't expecting that. Another shout out to ER Jimbo 67, who says, this message is bought. Anyway, shout out to Neil. he's verbalizing the interruption that you didn't give. Another shout out. One more shout out to Godzilla, who's been furiously smashing the super chat today. Thank you very much again. Shout out to Righteous Force. We missed him, and it wouldn't be right. I agree. Shout out to Righteous Force.
Can I do a quick shout out?
You can.
Well, how about a call out? I call out Nicholas Pitts to join the show. That's all. Goodbye.
People are free to join. This is, I say it in every single introduction, right? Express your views on the nature of Earth. If, for instance, Nicholas Pitts, whoever that may be, Neil, was of the opinion that we were just wrong. What do you mean you can't get two straight lines meeting at a vertex from one curved line and one straight line? That's just not true. We can draw out a tangent plane. Feel free, come in. Tell us how you've got a physical geometric limitation at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet that you can draw out a straight line, not refracted, tangent to it. How's that geometric horizon working out for you, Rufy? If you're listening.
Also, I've got
just to say when you go to the guy's channel, hey, Nathan Oakley has responded to your, call to address the video. You guys can do that. That'd be cool.
Yes, that's a much more concise way of putting it. If you could let him know that we've responded to his video by saying, Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, he responded to your video. Love your channel, subscribed. Shout out to you. Shout out to Flatzoid. I think he's still a panel member, says Skeptic936. Go ahead, whoever that was. Thank you for the super chat.
That was me. I posted 3 more slides after that other slide, so if you want to go to those. It's interesting that that imagery that he showed on that last slide that you commented on, he had a protractor on top of a globe. And if you're looking at some of these slides, that's exactly what they do, because it's not the top of the globe, it's the equator or equatorial plane or the center of the Earth or the irregular plane we live on. You see, they just superimpose it. I don't know which picture you're showing.
Yes, but in both his diagrams, fortunately, he did actually reference material that knew how it's alluding to a tangent plane at the center of a sphere Earth that's then surrounding the tangent point. Well, it isn't, is it? The tangent point's coming from the surface if you're on a globe, but yeah, as in this the first slide that you sent after the last one, you can see where the angle resides. Well, actually, you can't because there's a globe in the way. Yeah? It's at the center of that sphere, right? That's where the angle actually resides, at the center of the tangent plane that is the equatorial plane that you're measuring the angle from, and it isn't on the surface.
Well, let me explain what they're doing here. When they say we don't need the horizon with the Mariner sextant, we don't even have to do dip correction. We can just pull out a bubble sextant. Well, they're having a artificial horizon set by the bubble. Now, if you know how level works, you'll understand that at the eye line is the vertex, and he's got to have a perpendicular. He's got to have a 90 degrees, a right angle. He's got to have that. So he does it with the bubble sextant, not using the Earth's horizon. But at sea, because the ship is tossing, you can't use a bubble sextant, okay? So you use the horizon because it's the only thing stable at sea. And horizon is part of horizontal if you look it up, okay? And you use that and you do the rocking motion of the sextant to establish, and you get this straight. You already have a horizontal at sea. You're rocking the sextant with the sun barely kissing the horizon to establish not horizontal, but vertical. Vertical. You got to get that vertical of the sun. But they're already assuming the horizon is the flat baseline that will allow you to do that as you do the rocking motion and get it to the center point. Because if you're off to the left or right, your angle will be too large. All right. So you do dip correction, you get your eyeball on the water, and that becomes the same as the first example, which is the artificial horizon set by the level. And then we go to where the measurements are actually coming from in their world, and that is from the equatorial plane, which is obviously a plane. And then they say all these three coincide as one. Now, how many times do you have to see this, hear this, research this to figure it out? There is only one plane, and you cannot get a 90 degree from a curved surface to subtract to get the zenith distance. The sun has to be directly over a spot on Earth, and that's its zenith, and zeniths are straight lines, verticals. And then the observer with the sextant's got to be somewhere on the Earth with the same vertical establishing his zenith. If all that is going to the center of the Earth and you got a curve in the way, you don't have a baseline and you have diverging zeniths, and celestial navigation cannot work. It's that simple.
With that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a massive thank you to Original D Rose, who smashed the super chat, gave me $10, just didn't say anything. So thank you very much for smashing the super chat. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat today. So really do appreciate the support. Also, massive thanks to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a member. Thanks to Godzilla, who've got 5 more members on this roster. So thank you very much indeed to Godzilla for adding those members as well. Also, of course, a massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Stream, stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
Another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat. Seriously, I really, really appreciate it.
Doing a longer live show. I mean, come on.
No, they were just having competition. It started off. It set off a chain reaction.
It did turn into a pissing match.
Started with my super chat. Shout out to Neil. Way to be, Scab.
Good show. I'm glad we did
I
cover
thought
the
it was
last bit of that Invicta. That was good.
I thought it was a great show.
Yeah, it's a great 3-part show that you should string together so we can share it easily.
I did actually assess that with the pug guy. Just too much work. It would take days and days and days. And I just don't think, when I asked, I'd already assessed that when I was asking in Skype, like, do you think this is worth watching? And I think one person was like, yeah, I think people might watch that. I'm like, yeah, that's all I need to know.
No. Divergent Droid, I think, could do it for you. So you don't have to do it. You just give them license to do it. And it's not for watching, it's for sharing. And then when we share it, they will watch it.
Sure, but I think the live shows themselves, just they're sufficient, aren't they? Anyway, I'll assess it. I'll assess it again.
No, the live show, listen, you got different kind of followers to your channel. You got us on the panel as much as every day as possible allows. Then you've got people who are your supporters that goes the same way. And then you got people who can't catch you 5 days a week. Maybe they tune in 2 or 3 shows. And then there's people who, oh man, I got to go back and see where they're at because they had some killer arguments. And then you got people who don't even know about you. And I could either share 3 shows with all the things, or I could just share one nice debunk of one channel per session. So each time we do a review, that counts as one. And send those out and say, man, that guy was terrific. He just tore into that guy. How do I get on the live show? So it's just an advertisement for you. So they do come on the live shows.
Sure.
Yeah, this Nicholas Fitz is talking about gas having mass. It really annoys me. Just come on the show.
I didn't know
Tomorrow,
gas
come on the
was.
show.
I didn't know gas was religious.
I think to be
I didn't
fine
know
what
gas.
mass is first, Neil.
Yeah, and he
I
said
was looking
he-
at that.
He
Stop
said
banning
chemists
him
know this.
as well.
I don't ban him. I time him out when he gets annoying.
Yeah,
I
but
never banned him.
then that Muppet's not there in the record. He's not
What's
being
that?
rude.
Yeah, they gotta change that. Why is it that everything disappears when you time somebody out?
'Cause you normally time people out for stuff that's offensive, not somebody who's just like disagrees with you constantly, so he's annoying.
Yeah, but he's a troll. Come on, he's been at it for how long, Adam? Just comes on here and trolls and trolls and trolls. Chemists know. So you got this dark, deep secret, Mr. Chemist, Adam, that you're holding on to that we don't know about? I'd like to know.
What?
Let him write it. He's a Muppet. I've read it.
But because you have now said that, I will not do it no longer.
Well, just
See
let
Adam
him,
making.
let him do it. Let him do it and just ask him, first of all, if he's claiming that gas has mass, right? To define what
mass?
mass is, right?
I did ask him that. You didn't answer.
Only a chemist could answer this because he knows how to handle vile person.
Ted, it would have been better if you would have said, I didn't know gas was Catholic.
No, I'm not against Catholics. I used to be one. I'm against the system that lies to people who are Catholics. They need to be told the truth.
No, at mass.
That's why I said it. I didn't know it was religious, so I kept it there. So
Oh, I got you. But Catholicism is the only one that has mass, right? I never heard of anything else. Any other religion saying they're going to mass, but Catholics. I was one too.
The heliocentric religion has mass.
Every day.
Can we get a summary on mass and mole, just so we have a concise answer?
I was
Because
just going to ask the same thing.
Who are you asking? QE?
anyone,
Adam.
Adam, you, QE, just a real nice flowing summary.
I'll give you a mole, but I'm not giving you mass.
That's good.
Mole is a specific quantity of atoms, so 6 times 10 to the 23 atoms, or Avogadro's number as it's referred to. It's just a way of describing a big number, a bit like an Orwellian unit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay,
I've always seen.
Sorry, go on, Aaron.
I was just saying, like, that was brought up again also on my show like 2 days ago. Guy going around, gas, mass, it has mass, because they want it to be subjectable to Newtonian gravity assumptions, so it can be pulled down in the face of the vacuum.
Exactly.
But they have no idea what they're talking about. So when I had the guest on the other day, who is a baller, Stas Moretz, he basically engaged me about that as well and tried to explain, like, yeah, why does gas not have mass? What is that mass? And he tried to, convince me that it did have it by basically delving into chemistry. Like, oh, look at the atomic model and this has mass versus that. And to highlight that is like, yeah, because it's the chemistry way of mass versus the physics way of mass. And physics is all about what's happening. Chemistry, the mass is much more for how much is it in relation to another body, right? It's always in relation to another mass. That's how they use it in chemistry, and in like, ooh, how do atoms, what are they comprised of in that theoretical field? So that's really the issue. It's just two different ways of using mass, and they both pop up in school, but they're different.
Well, let me ask Adam for a little bit dumbed down summary. So you said 6 times 10 to the 23 power specific quantity. You said, sorry.
Yeah, number
Okay.
of atoms
All right.
or molecules. Yeah.
Okay, so that's mole, right?
Yep.
Okay, so when they say mass, why is that not a synonym for mole?
Because each atom or molecule will have a different relative molecular weight. So the number of, so its overall weight will be different, won't it? Because it's only a number, it's a quantity. It's got no relationship to any particular atom or molecule. It's just a way of describing a quantity of, a number of, not a weight of, not a volume of, but an actual number of.
You're saying that's what mass is?
No, that's what a mole is.
I thought so. So what do they think they're doing with mass? The same thing, and they're just mistaken, or what?
Alwyn's right, really. When I were a lad, I think when QE was, it was molecular weight. And that's sufficient because that's where we derive it from. So what's the purpose of using another same but supposedly different term? It's to invoke G. G's already in W in their world. Yeah? So what we want to do is separate it out. So if we call it mass, which is undetermined, then we can multiply it by G to get W, which is all we had in the first place. That's what physicists do. As I said, chemists don't need to do that. We can have molecular weight. We're happy because that's what we've measured, what we've weighed.
So when you say as a chemist, you weighed, you don't weigh what they say makes mass. You weigh individual things.
When I take a measurement, I take that measurement in weight.
Right. Look, give me an example.
Well, I weigh it in kilograms, not newtons per meter per whatever. Excuse the unit. Do you get me? So there's no function of G in there. The only reason to differentiate mass and weight is to allow a function of G to be involved. And as Owen says, that's only really when you're going into, well, it's fundamentally theoretical physics, isn't it? Because we've got no way of determining G as an actual entity. So therefore, it is only theoretical. And that's it. And as Owen said, it's introduced. It's not in chemistry. We don't need it.
So if I was to summarize what I'm gaining here, you just weigh things, but you don't invoke G. In order for them to invoke G, they can't go to the chemistry definition of that, which would be mole. They have to make up their own, which is mass, and it's obviously mass attracts mass is what they want, invoking G. Correct?
Yes.
But then we'll say, fine, where's G? Prove G first. So again, we're starting off with the assumption and make the question. I mean, I don't mind if mass could be a synonym for something, but if it's got G in it, and the other synonym that you're trying, or the word you're trying to get it to be a synonym for, has no G in it, then that's the trick they're trying to use. It seems like.
Well, the weirder issue even is that what they need the mass to be is that thing that has momentum, right? They need that traction ability. What do you call it again? The other word that they like to equate with mass? What is it again? Inertia, exactly. So that's actually what they're looking for. And so it's like a double reification, right? First, they make inertia into mass, and then they make the chemistry version of mass, and they tie it in, and then, see gravity. So that's really the trick. Right?
Easily disproven by gases going up and helium balloons.
Right, because gas doesn't have that property that they want it to have in order for the model to work.
And that's the point. Gas doesn't have weight. Okay, so when this guy, Neil, in chat is trying to say gas has a mass, if you're going to talk about relative molecular mass or relative molecular weight, which is another convention within that convention of weight, then that's what he's talking about, the relative molecular mass within the convention of the structure of the atom. That's not actually a weight, and gases can't have a weight because the convention of weight is for solids and liquids within air displacement pressure. So I think we've covered this before. Whenever we're trying to quantify gas, we need volume and pressure. And we can, from that, work out the number of moles. Do you know what I mean? But what we can't do is weigh gas.
So if I go with a 5-gallon tank empty and it weighs a certain amount, and then I go fill it up with propane, volume and pressure, it's heavier. It transforms because obviously the liquid, not liquid, what do you guys call that? What's the right phrase? At the bottom, it's the liquid form, and then as you use it, the gases dissipate through the top.
Yeah.
Fluid.
What? Fluid, is that the right word?
Well, it's liquid at the bottom, and there will be gas under pressure in equilibrium. So it depends on how much you've pumped in as to how much will be liquid and how much will be gas in terms of what that pressure is. So it's an equilibrium point, but you are going to force that phase transition under great pressure. Now you will get weight then. If you just fill it up with nothing, what are you weighing? So the gas is moving freely in all directions, so it's exerting an equal force on all parts of the wall, up, down, left, right, and which is not the convention of weight fundamentally. You see, this is why you're not weighing it, because weight is downward pressure, isn't it?
Sorry, Adam, can I ask you a question? I'm only just jumped in. I'm a bit confused. Unless I've just been misled. Yeah, so in my job, I do, I'm a refrigeration engineer, so I do have a set of scales, and I have to take gas out of systems and put gas into systems, and we have to weigh that in, and when we take it out, we have to check the weight again. So I do it quite regularly. I weigh the gas bottle empty, and then I take gas out of a system, I reclaim gas out of a system, put it into the bottle, and it has a...
Yeah, what are you weighing? Pressurized gas, which will have liquid at the bottom.
It depends on the temperature.
Yeah, so if you think about when there's only just gas in there, how low will the pressure be? Not much left, is there? If there's no sloshy noise in your tank, it's going to run out pretty soon, isn't it?
It depends on what gas it is.
Yeah, but we're not trying to guesstimate here, where are we? We're not trying to say, oh, I've got a bit left, I've got this much. I know if this tank weighs this, I've got about 50% less. We were referring to how do we gather the information with regards to a number of moles. We can't do that with weight with gases. We do that with volume and pressure if we're going to determine. I think it's 22.4 decimeters cubed would be one mole at atmospheric pressure. So you work it from that. This is old. I've not done this for you. Yeah, but if you want to know how many molecules, that's how the way you're going to do it through volume and pressure, not through weight. That's only going to be an approximation, not a knowledge like you've got when you weigh a piece of gold and how much that weighs, don't I? That's the weight, and how I can from that I can do the same molar calculation.
So let me see if I could add something to this. So when I had to refill the propane tanks on the property, they were 500-gallon tanks. One time it got real low, and the person said, well, if it gets lower than 5%, then we'll make an emergency rescheduling to get out sooner. But what do you got? And I said, oh, it shows 9-10%. Oh, you're fine for a while. So what I gathered from that was that since the volume is 500 gallons and we're down to the last 8, 9, 10%, I still had pressure, and it's pressurized gas. So I got a little left there. But if it got down, say, to 2% or 1% or wherever that line is, then there would just be enough gas in there, but not enough to create pressure, is what you're saying, correct, Adam?
Yeah.
Okay. So gas, so much like a tire, much like a tire that's flat, there's 14.7 air in there because that's the outside pressure as well, but not enough to run your car on.
That gauge, is it a pressure gauge or a weight gauge on your gas tank?
It's a pressure gauge, and I could only fill it up to 80 due to expansion in the summertime due to the heat. So that way the thing doesn't explode. So they only filled up 80% of the 500 gallons a max. 20% for expansion when it heats up. More exciting molecules.
I think that answers him, Neil, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's much like the tire that's gone flat. There's still air in it, but there's no pressure.
Well, there's 1 atmosphere of pressure.
No, I'm sorry. It's equal to 14.7. Yeah, that's a given, I thought. So.
Oh, it's going quiet. Nathan, shut the show down.
And with that,
Well, let's see. That dangerous, and with that. Yeah, I mean, for the common guy like me on these issues of physics and chemistry, it helps to get this detailed, at least this much about mole and mass, instead of just spurting out. Because if you know it, you can spurt it out, and then you tell the guy, "Well, you go research it, you go figure it out," or whatever.
I thought Arwen explained it pretty good. Wasn't he correct on that? Because I kind of understood that.
Well, roughly
did.
outlined. I mean, I don't have like the specialty words exactly right, but that's how I've come to understand it over the age. And I had a real headbreaker over it in school. I just didn't get it. Like, what? How is that different? Like, and yeah, it took a long time to get it.
No, Arwen did a good job. I'm not saying he isn't. I'm talking about the differences in people's personalities. Of some people say, "Oh, okay, fine, okay, so it's not the same because one invokes gravity, the other one doesn't." Got it. Okay, so we'd all love to have students like that, but we don't always have that student. We have someone says to you when you say something, "What's the next layer?" I don't know the next layer. Let me call Adam.
Can I add something quick?
Yeah.
And I just want some clarity on this, and I guess it's towards Adam, the question. So you're saying unless there's enough pressure to gas for it to turn into a liquid state, we can't weigh it? What I'm saying is, what if we compress the gas and it's in a container, but it's not compressed enough until it's a liquid, but it's still compressed? Would that not weigh more than when it wasn't compressed, is what I'm asking?
But then it's not a gas.
It will, hold on, it will weigh as much more as it has an average density per volume versus how much air is outside of it, right? Because if it is normal pressure, like outside type pressure, it's not going to have any weight. at
Right,
all.
but it's more pressure and it's not in a liquid state. So even what I'm saying is, if it's more pressurized and not change into a liquid state, and there's more, let's say, moles or whatever you want to call it, or more pressure or whatever, because he said we can determine moles by pressure too. More
Well, it
moles is
gains a
more.
higher density then.
Well, let's just see what Adam says. I think he got the gist of what I said, right, Adam?
Pushing pills.
Anyways,
But,
that was
I
kind
mean,
of my question, I
okay.
guess.
Well, he'll
But
come back. Just
I mean,
wait.
I have reclaimed gas, as in a vapor form, from a refrigeration unit into a bottle in a vacuum on some scales, and I watched the weight go up as the vapor goes into the bottle. It's not liquid at that point, which tells me the vapor has a weight. If that's
Well,
I'm watching it do it.
that's
As long as it's more dense than the average air that surrounds it, yes, it will have some measure of weight because it's more dense.
yeah, that's what Arwen is saying, and it pretty much answers that question. When you're running low, when you're driving your car and your gas meter's on empty, what do people say? I'm running on fumes. But
Yeah.
what are they trying to tell you? It's about whatever I got left is just fumes now because the liquid part's gone.
He said it had weight. Define weight.
Weight is a way of us taking a gas, putting it into a container so we can shoehorn it into a convention that we use that's quite useful for flogging it. But in terms of our association with this argument, beyond the process of containing the gas in order to give it this convention, which is ascribable, let's be honest, and is ascribed when you sell gas by weight, fine. But what did it need? Well, it needed a container. That's the end of its usefulness for us, isn't it?
Yep.
I still didn't get the definition of weight.
How it's currently defined would be in regards to the downward bias
Not
through
you.
air. Oh, my bad.
Not you.
Talking to one deck.
Not sure, to tell you the truth. All I know is that, like I said, I'm just interested because, like I say, when I weigh the gas out, the number on the scale goes up. I don't know.
Stop. When you weigh the gas out, what does weight mean?
How heavy it is.
See the problem? If you don't see it, you want me to illuminate for you?
Yeah, please.
Weight equals mg. Mg, love you long time. Define m. Yeah, you got big friggin' problems. There's another bigger problem coming right around the corner. It's called G after that. So I don't know. People call weight. They don't know what they're talking about. That's what I'm saying. Not you specifically, but the royal
Yeah,
you.
I agree. I agree because I think that during my, even though I'm in this arena now and I can sort of, I'm with you guys on it. This is what I've been taught throughout college, and my job that I do is like you go to the suppliers, you buy 22 kilograms of R22 or R403, and you weigh it out and you weigh it in, and that's what I've been doing. And you have to write it down on a form how much you've weighed out. So yeah, it's trickery really. Then if it's not correct, it's just what I've been following orders, I suppose.
So of all of us, it
Well,
says the
hold on.
body's relative mass or the quantity of matter contained by it, giving rise to a downward force, the heaviness of a person or thing. Wow.
There you
That
go.
part is conceptual because what is weight? It's pressure. It's a quantity of pressure downward in this case specifically. The origin of it is really not relevant, right? In that sense, it's just a quantity, a measurement of
Specifically
pressure.
or specifically?
Yeah. And the rest is all filled in.
downward
Like,
force?
why is that like that? Oh, the gravity, mass, and then that story comes in. But you can simply choose another route for the explanation. You could say, yeah, it's actually relative density in standardized surroundings of air. And so, yeah, you can't weigh just expanded air in air because that's literally nothing, even though it would technically have weight if
Yeah,
you have
chocolate.
another environment.
Chocolate, it says giving rise to a downward force. That is something, boy.
That's an oxymoron.
Well, that's a little weird. Doesn't gas move in all directions?
That's what I learned here.
So how does gas have weight?
It is an oxymoron, giving rise to a downward force.
So weight causes gravity. The giving rise to a downward force. So weight causes gravity in that statement. Am I missing something?
It gives just as much rise to it as measuring the angles of the sun gives rise to the globe Earth in that way.
Am I off base here?
Well,
Can you read that again, please?
It says a body's relative mass or the quantity of matter contained by it, giving rise to a downward force.
So there's big problems. Mass is not a quantity. Or they're assigning the quantity of matter as the definition of mass, number one. So that's incorrect. So, and then it's causing gravity. Did you catch that? Giving rise to, that means causing gravity.
Well, there goes the bending of space-time.
There goes the whole,
I mean-
there goes
I
everything.
mean,
They
that-
have to go back and redefine all their terms.
I like
That
what
sounds like it
chocolates.
can be established with an experiment based on a hypothesis.
Yeah,
They
let's
got
weigh
one of
gas.
those?
Yeah, let's weigh gas going upwards, chocolate.
What's weight?
That's when you have the scale upside down, and then the gas hits it on upward motion.
I don't think that's weight.
No, I'm saying what-
you're redefining it.
No, I'm just having fun with what chocolate said. So if a 200-pound man steps on the scale, it's going to say he weighs 200 pounds. Okay, and so now chocolate's saying, okay, you're going to describe gases have weight like a man, right? Okay, fine, but it goes in all directions. How are you going to weigh it?
What's weight?
That's why I'm handing it over to chocolate.
We can do this. I can do this all day. It's not
Okay,
good for
Captain
me.
America.
For me, weight is
now,
like Arwen said. Hang on, you asked what I'm thinking. So
no, I didn't.
Well, you just said let's wait.
No, not to you. It's not a personal thing.
Similar is
okay.
influence, force, leverage. These are words that they equate it with. Influence, force, leverage. What's this
Quantity of
force?
pressure. It's a quantity of downward pressure.
Well, so I was going to give an example.
I have an answer.
Don't need
Go
an
on.
example. I didn't ask for an example. I asked for a definition of weight. Of course, that's a problem because you're not going to be able to do it. And neither is anyone else for that matter.
Right.
That's the frustration.
Oh, John.
Refracted. What are we going to say?
Need to.
Say again?
What? For need to define weight.
You got bad internet. Drop and rejoin.
Yeah, maybe drop and rejoin, John.
Sounds like you said, why do we need to define weight? I agree, because Nathan hit it right in the head. It's got to be put in a container, right? And that's the end of what we say.
We don't need to do anything. I don't need to define weight. They need to define it if they're going to use it.
I see what you're saying. Yes.
Well, in wrestling, you wrestle on different weight classes. We know how to define that.
What's weight?
Well, that's when the heavyweight shows up for the 120-pound match, and we say, sorry, you're overweight for this category.
See, everyone's so indoctrinated with these words like atmosphere and all that, and then you ask them what it is. Nah, that really, the meaning of words is quite important. Right? Don't you think?
Well, so is a heavyweight guy on the 123-pound guy.
I'm sure.
So what is
weight? Yeah, exactly.
So what is
on the
weight?
same page. What is weight?
Let's not keep going in circles here. What is weight?
You don't have to define it. You're a flat earther. You don't have a claim involved with it.
Well, I don't have a problem with weight. I have a problem with G.
But G's part of weight.
Well, that's why I'm asking for them to define it, so they put G in there and I could tell them they're wrong. But until someone says, I don't have to define it, which I understand. So we say to them, define it. They'll say, wait. And they'll just keep saying, wait. And I can't keep saying, well, no, that's the wrong definition. That's the wrong definition. And then they'll say, well, what is it? No, you have to define it.
Exactly.
But we'll be going in circles. So why can't we just...
It ends... No, it actually ends there when they can't define it. There's no circle. It comes to a screaming halt.
Right. They can't use the word. They can't use the word if they can't define it.
Yep.
It's over.
All right. So they define it, and you say they're wrong. So define it again. They're going to say, where am I wrong? I'm not going to tell you until you define it right. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, going in circles. Why not educate them?
Educate them? What's weight?
I'll just play a baller. Or just someone in the norm. It's if before dinner I go on the scale, I weigh 150, and after dinner I go on the scale, I weigh 155.
No, you can't use the word that you're trying to define in the definition.
Food in my tummy is weight.
Okay, wait a second. Then what happens when you go on a scale? What is that?
That's not the definition of weight.
That's
the question is the definition.
I'm trying to find out. Like, what do I say? I'm 189 pounds dense.
What's
density?
density? Neil, what's density?
Oh God.
Density.
You're gonna have another problem.
I know.
That's why he
Then
said
what
it.
the heck do we say?
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything. It's not your problem.
But if it's not in the debate form and you're trying to talk to someone who's a flat earther who wants to understand, I don't have to say anything. It's not my problem.
What's that?
What's what?
I see what you're saying.
Well, John said, refractive curvature, John, that it's their problem. I don't have to say anything. Okay, but that's in a debate with someone who believes in G and all that kind of stuff. But what if it's someone on our side who's trying to get an understanding of what John, QE John, and John, refractive curvature John are saying and holding back, waiting for someone to say it?
No, nobody's going to say it. These words won't be defined. They can't be.
Why?
Because they're tied to Earth being a sphere.
So that's
no, I got that.
is.
That part is obviously that part. That's why he said, "Was it M equals G?"
Yeah, but things are heavier and lighter.
No, Neil, what they're saying is that since these words are tied with G, it's already a failure because they're already assuming Earth is a sphere, and it's in that convention that they're defining the word.
I understand that, but I'm looking at my couch and I had to carry it in the house the other day. That thing was freaking heavy.
Well, Darwin answered that one. Relative density in the medium of air, the density of the couch compared to the air is heavier.
Define density.
Couch.
That's what Adam was trying to get him to do.
Lazy boy.
I wonder what I should do then on my work forms that I'm told to put a weight on, because that's what the guy at the bloody F-gas Zurich guy wants because we have to trace. It has to be traceable. This refrigerant gas, but we have to know where it's moved from and how much. Because that's what they asked me. I have to just put it on a scale and weigh it. What else could I? How could I describe it any other way? Of the amount of the gas that I've taken out of a system. If I could say to the guy, well, he'll say how much weight have you taken out? I'll say, well, how can I get around that one then? If I wanted to sort of tell him weight isn't, do I ask him to define weight? What shall I say?
The definition of density is the degree of compactness of a substance. The degree of compactness of a substance.
What's it measured in?
A reduction in bone density.
Yeah, what are the units of measurement?
Yeah, that's what I said. What are the units? Yeah.
A measure of the amount of information on a storage medium tab this for magnetic tape and the amount of information recorded. No, this is other meanings. Millimeter, bits per inch or millimeter.
One deck, I think the solution for you is to just use it as a time to say, well, you want me to measure it on the flat Earth without gravity? Yeah, then I'll just say weight. But if you want me to measure it on the sphere, no, I can't say weight because it's going to cost them more because there's a downward force charging.
Yeah, in physics, the definition of density is degree of consistency measured by the quantity, here we go, of mass per unit volume. Come on with this here mass. I'm going around in freaking circles here.
Well, can I just say this? If you don't have a claim to make about it, why does it matter to you?
That's not the point. It's to understand what both you are talking about when the word in its current use, and we used it with the couch, we used it a person eating 3-4 pounds worth of food, so he steps on a scale, and it's harmless in those descriptions. We're not saying gravity. When we're saying, help me pick this up, it's heavy. We're not saying gravity.
When you say, what is it? Is it a thing?
No, it's a description, I would say, of everyday life. When things are heavy, you need help picking up. And so you use weight that way. I'm never thinking something's pulling that thing down. I need, hey, gravity's pulling this down. Help me pick up the couch. I'm not thinking it about that way.
So that's what they're trying to do, is turn it into.
I know.
So what have we actually got? We've got a convention.
Right, but we still, in the real world, experience weight without gravity the way I just described it. And we say, hey, come and help me lift this couch. It's too heavy for me. But none of us are invoking gravity.
We do experience weight?
Okay, I don't believe here. Yeah, let me express. I don't believe in gravity. I don't believe in the sphere Earth. Hey, can you, John, refract the curvature, and Adam, come and help me pick up this couch? It's too heavy for me. What have I done wrong?
You didn't say weight. You didn't say it was too much weight. Maybe say it that way.
All right, fine. It's too heavy. It weighs too much. Come and help me. You're going to say,
Find weight.
you just invoke gravity. I'm not going to help you. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, God damn it.
Yes.
I knew someone was going to bite on that one.
The definition of heavy, of great density, thick or substantial, heavy gray clouds. That says of great density.
It's
Heavy.
Neil, its density is real, isn't it? Real. You can, yeah. Now you might want to use weight to describe it. You could use the convention of weight to describe that real thing in terms of the convention of weight.
You gotta love how they use the. What was the example? Of something being heavy. Well, what was it again, Neil?
Great density of thick or substantial, heavy gray clouds.
Clouds. Oh,
Amazing,
okay.
right?
Where are clouds again?
Up.
Oh, okay. So much for that weight then.
So
But weight
without
can't have anything to do with
without the
gravity
power.
because gravity is not real.
No, you see where this is going. They have a word that's linked to gravity and its weight. They have another word linked to what a common person is thinking, but using the word weight to describe it, which is density. This couch is so dense, I need help. But because they've got us into this weight thing, and when you go delve into weight, it involves gravity, then it's the wrong title, the wrong word, because gravity doesn't exist. So this is where John and Adam are talking about, correct?
That's not a problem with density. Always.
You're supposed to make it easier.
But I don't.
Oh.
The issue is when they
So they just throw in the
try to invoke the G, the unit volume, the grams is composed of newtons and gravity. That's
No, I
it.
agree.
Yeah. The convention of weight and how we weigh it, we both agree on, baller or flat. There's no issue there. It's understood. It's a convention.
Didn't you just summarize what I'm saying? You say you don't have a problem with density. I don't either. But if I use the word weight, what was, define it. Well, okay. But no, you didn't define it right. Oh, okay, but I don't believe in gravity. If you said gravity, then you would be defining it the way they do. So that's why it's wrong from the first instance.
What's the question?
Question is, what's wrong with using the word weight or saying that things are heavy? That's the question as I understand it. Am I wrong?
No, that's it.
There isn't.
Colloquially, nothing's wrong with it.
Yeah, that's the way. That's the way most people.
It's when you go to make it. It's when you go to make a claim about it.
Okay, then we're all on the same page. No, we're all on the same page now. That was the key.
weight of
You
my
guys are
mind
saying.
straight away.
I hate this mouse. I hope the battery fixes the problem.
You need a lighter mouse, mate.
You need a what? Just keeps losing connection. I think the battery's knackered.
Now that I got all of that in the noggin, I don't know what the hell to say. What am I?
Define
189
noggin.
pounds dense? Am I 189 pounds? And I'm giving myself a break there. What do I say?
189 pounds.
Neil, you got to define noggin. Define noggin first.
Melon.
This is crazy how they twisted everything. So it all goes to gravity. Everything with weight is tied to gravity. Oh, that's brilliant.
No, it isn't.
They're just throwing gravity into everything to confuse everyone, aren't they? By the sounds of it. But which
Gravity?
doesn't
What's
exist.
gravity?
It's a lie.
See, yeah, you see, you get into big problems then, because when you said it all goes back to gravity, well, which gravity? Well, if you're going to the current rhetoric from Einstein, there is no weight.
Yeah, that gets thrown out the window. So it's Newtonian gravity.
Well, that was debunked by Einstein 107 years ago. See the problem? It's a never-ending feedback loop into destruction.
And what was Einstein superseded by?
Einstein's what superseded by?
The theory of relativity and all of that.
There was no theory of relativity. Nothing needed to be superseded.
But didn't quantum mechanics debunk Einstein?
With what?
I don't know. That's what I hear you say.
In terms of general relativity, no.
Gravity.
No.
So what does it debunk Einstein in? Trying to learn here.
It has nothing to debunk. It takes place in a conceptual medium. It's just math.
If the Earth can be coming up, but weight is m times g, which is down, then that's not weight, is it anymore? Because it's coming up. It's different. You have to use different equation.
Heavy stuff, this.
Oh, that's why I just consider it as pressure. What is weight? It's something pressing. Like that is literally what happens on the scale. It presses against it, and then it measures the quanta of the pressure. That's it. That is really what weight is, and that leaves completely open how that is caused, right? You can approach it differently. I approach it with relative density.
Oh, it's pressure.
But are we? If I had a certain amount of pressure in a gas bottle, and in 15 degrees Celsius, and then I moved it to an area of 30 degrees Celsius, I'll have more pressure. So
yeah, for a bit.
Why would you go?
Yeah.
So what they're saying
until
is
it heats up again.
So it's just always be a variable pressure in that container, depending on its surroundings. But when I hand that pressure, when I hand that bottle to the teller, and he asks me for the weight, and I'm going to tell him, I'm not telling you the weight, I'm just going to tell you the pressure. The pressure could be right at 15 degrees Celsius, and when he goes and puts it in the back at 30 degrees, there'll be an increase in pressure.
Yep, and that's probably part of the reason why things supposedly weigh slightly more at the North Pole, right? That story. And they say, oh, it's because of the centrifugal force at the equator, but it's probably because it's just colder there.
Wait a second, that's true? So I could take gold and it'll weigh more in another region?
It's extremely minute. It's not worth it.
Define minute.
Wait a second. How is it
insignificant amounts?
How is
very, very low percentage?
Spell minute.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Spell minute.
Wait. W-A-I-T. I'll be back.
If that place existed, Owen, all the slimming clubs would be there, wouldn't they?
Why? It's super cold.
You can weigh less.
No, but it's not that much. I mean, the amount is just insignificant. It's ridiculous, really. It's a baller claim. They use it to claim that it's because of the spinning of the Earth.
What?
It's probably just temperature.
So the obvious thing. So the obvious thing that we would all see if the Earth was spinning, they don't want to claim that. They want to claim something else.
Isn't weight pressure on a scale?
Come back.
Yeah, you do. Well, what is weighing on a scale? It's a thing pressing on it.
Weight. The way I see weight is pressure on a scale on disequilibrium. So you have equal parts. If you have equal parts on a scale, you have a balance. That means
Counter pressure.
it's balanced. It's called a balance, isn't it? Yeah.
Counter
The
pressure.
English word the English word is scale, but for example, if you go to measure gold or stuff like that, they use the little balance. They put a weight in one side and the product on the other one to find the balance, how much it weighs. So weight is pressure on a scale. Again, force over area.
Okay, so you bring me back to my triple beam dream days.
What's force?
The pressure over
No,
area.
you've said it goes back to that as what? What does F equal?
You asking me?
Yeah, if I want to work it out, don't I? You've just said that the is pressure, which is force. So
Yeah.
how can I calculate the force? F equals ma.
By having an equal force on the other side of the scale. Equal pressure on the other side of the scale. So you have a balance. You have two objects, depending on the shape, they have a balance in what we call weight.
Pressure and
That's the
area, isn't
English
it?
word for it.
So I can
Weight. Yeah,
equivocate.
we don't call
Okay,
weight.
that's cool. So I
Yeah.
can equivocate it, but not describe it.
Oh, be careful with that equivocate. So
Make
pressure
an
is
equivalent.
force.
Make an equivalent within the construct I've just invented. Yeah, of pressure. I can make an equivalent by weight. Yeah, so it balances the scale. I've not described anything there. I've just matched it.
Well, you just rearrange the equation because pressure is force over area. So you could just rearrange it and say force equals pressure times area. We're in their paradigm now.
I don't like being in their paradigm.
No, it's again, this is why we were going back and forth and still are. I live in the world that I need help because the couch is too dense.
So, 10, if just really basically, if I start my convention that 1 litre of water is equal to 1 kilogram, and I can use that and weigh and put something on the other side of the scales and verify that that's 1 kilogram, and they get stamped and their weights. I can then weigh things. I can then make scales by putting weights on this springy thing, yeah, and then calibrating that to my known, previously defined by me, the man, weight of 1 kilogram, and then the convention rolls from there.
Yeah. No, I know it's a convention.
I think I was just trying to get. Is that what you're after in terms of as an explanation as to what weight is? It's just a convention.
No, I get that.
We have to start somewhere.
No, that's the easy part.
Oh,
It's
it gets better. It gets better because obviously I just described a volume there. Volume, you need distance. The way we describe distance and the way all these things are derived from is from a sextant. Because
oh my gosh.
I know I was going. Everything comes from that.
Let's hear it. Go on, Adam.
I want to hear it too.
So even all Egyptian units are derived from the heavens. Okay, and then the subsequent breakdowns. Now they tend to be broken down with different denominators. So we don't use base 10. But within all of these, what is it? A yard, a cubit, a royal cubit. They're all initially derived from a heavenly measurement, from a nautical mile.
Perfect.
Yeah.
With that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams, hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!